What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Cyberpunk 2077 will be delayed out of 2020 and into 2021. So maybe a little bit more of a negative video, but I do want to have this discussion with people based off of, the last delay. So game was supposed to come out, within just a few weeks from now, November 19th. It was delayed. It's now delayed till December 10th, same day actually as the Game Awards, which is kind of an interest, considering it can't actually participate in the Game Awards, but it comes out the same day. And I think, we've talked about this. Actually, I made an entire video separately on it of how disappointing is this. People are very, very mad. I get Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red pretty much did everything they could to guarantee that the game was coming out, going so far to tell people to take the day off of work or, yes, go ahead and take the day off of work, right? So a lot of stuff like that, and that backfired big time, actually, on them. And now here we are in November, no Cyberpunk, and now we go into December. It got delayed, and it's been delayed 3 or 4 times now. It seems like it's been like 100, but I think in reality, it's been 3 or 4. It is, I would say, in serious danger of being delayed again. I will tell you that my personal opinion, so I actually did a poll on this on my channel, I think last week. I think the majority of people, I think it was more like 60-40 or 70-30, said that they do think it'll be delayed again. I would say I'm actually in the minority there because I do think it'll stay. Now, I thought it would also stay in November, but let me tell you this. The best piece of evidence we have to go off of, and I know a game going gold maybe doesn't have the power that it had, 2 weeks ago, before this stuff happened, right? But when a game goes gold, it's done. It's done. And the only thing you can do on it up until the game releases is your updates, your patches, your fixes that you can eventually, again, kind of group together into a day one update. Or if you're somebody like Ubisoft or somebody that tends to let issues go a couple days and let people figure it out over the weekend, you know what I mean? Then you can figure out like day 3. It's like a day 3 or 4 patch. But that's what they're doing with Cyberpunk. And in their release, right, in their press release that talked about the delay, the main thing they talked about is they're trying to get it to work on all consoles. Because when you think about it, you can get it on PS4, but in reality, even someone like me, I'm getting the PS5, I'm getting it day one, hopefully, fingers crossed, right? And a lot of people that are doing that for PlayStation, even for Xbox, Cyberpunk was still going to be, and definitely still is now, in the territory where when you get it, you already have the next-gen console. So my plan with it in November 19th was I get the game, I buy it for PS4. In fact, I'm probably going to do it on Amazon, right? Because they're doing the sale on it, right? Which is actually, and they've done it for Assassin's Creed and other games as well. So I'll get that. I'll probably get the disc, although I want digital, but I can save, $10, $12 by getting it on Amazon. So maybe I will just get the disc. I get the disc, and I pop the disc into my PS5. I'm not even going to take the time to do it on my PS4. You know what I mean? So that was my plan from the very beginning, is I'm going to get it for PS4, but I'm going to put it directly into my PS5. I'm not even going to give the PS4 a chance to be able to run it, right? Now for December, it's the same thing. I mean, December 10th, a full month after Xbox, because Xbox releases November 10th, PlayStation releases November 12th, so around a month after, same deal. So that's what people are going to be doing, and they, again, we had heard from them that was the biggest issue, that they need, basically it's current gen holding it back. You got to read it in between the lines, you got to go off of maybe reports that other developers have said, but it seems like, making this thing run on current gen is actually going to be the issue, not on next gen or PC. Or doesn't this also come out on Google Stadia? I could maybe just be making that up. Oh, no, that is true. Google Stadia is one of those 9 things that the game is coming out on. So that's the issue, and you achieve that by the day one patch. You can't achieve that anymore with going gold. Now, you could argue, well, should they have gone gold later instead of so early, and they could have kept working on it? Yeah, I don't think it ultimately would have mattered. There's systems that gaming developers do. I mean, every game, for the most part, goes gold within that time frame of 2 to 4 weeks, maybe 2 to 6 weeks before the game comes out, and then it's all hands on deck of making sure the game is going to, properly run day one. So I know that's kind of a recap of what we already know and what's already happened, but I guess the biggest question then is, okay, well, would they delay it again? Well, the issue is you can't just delay it another 3 weeks. See, it only got delayed, and that's a big thing to look at, by the way. For those that think it's moving to 2021, I don't doubt you. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying I'm right, because truly, especially as we've now found out by them, literally anything can happen, right? So, it's really up to, ultimately, it's kind of up to them, right, what they do. But they only delayed it 3 weeks. They delayed it 3 weeks, and if you were to delay it further, I really feel like that would signal not that, delaying it so many times that they have already done hasn't signaled this, but I think it would really signal a really big problem internally there, right? You know what I mean? I mean, game's done. The game's gone gold, which is, the industry phrase for being finished. You delay it for 3 weeks. That's never really, I don't know many examples of games that go gold that then get delayed afterwards anyway. They're very, very small. I can't even think of one. To then do it another time, okay, is unheard of. And again, you can't delay it just a few weeks because you have to think of Christmas. And that's maybe not everybody celebrates Christmas. Maybe not. It's not as big of a deal to some as others. But in the gaming industry, it is a big deal in terms of many developers and publishers. They get vacation, they take a couple weeks off, and generally promotion. The games releasing, updates, all that kind of stuff. Unless there's something big. I have seen, there'll be games that, even like maybe like a Dead by Daylight, they've launched like a new killer like a week and a half before Christmas, and then they'll have to do like bug fixes, and they'll update it maybe a few days before Christmas. There are examples, but generally, you don't really do much around that December 20th to like January, I don't know, like 3rd, 4th, 5th, like that. Generally, those 2 weeks, those like 14, 15 days are generally pretty empty, like almost entirely empty. That's a chance for me to do all sorts of different kinds of videos on this channel. Also cover Cyberpunk if it actually releases day one. But in the grand scheme, that's normally when different kinds of movies also release. Right, we've seen Star Wars do it the past couple of years. But generally, it's a very quiet time. So my point is, you're not going to delay it 3 weeks because you can't. Because now you're into Christmas time, you're into New Year's time. You'd have to delay it around a month or longer. So you'd have to say late January or something. You have to give like a late January date. And I think that would just be, and by late, I really mean like second half, like 15th. Because we do know like Hitman 3 comes out January 20th. I think Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake comes out the 21st. So we have games that are coming out in January. Darksiders came out January a few years ago. Kingdom Hearts has come out in January. But it's normally the second half. So to delay it again, you'd be delaying it a month to a month and a half. And that is an extraordinary, it's not the longest time in the world, but couple that with the 3 weeks you've already done, now you have 2 to 3 months you've pretty much delayed it after the game went gold. And I just don't think will the company survive? Oh, I mean, like, what would the world do? But in reality, well, firstly, actually, the world would be a much worse place without CD Projekt Red in it, right? I really do appreciate those guys and gals. I think they do a fantastic job. I think they've a benchmark for a lot of different kinds of games. Well, I mean, basically, Witcher, Cyberpunk is obviously a chance to do the same thing there. But they, I really do think it would be a really bad look on the company. I really feel like a lot of people would be looking to them and saying, like, what in God? I mean, people are already doing this, but like, what in God's name is going on there? So, like, would they survive with their stocks? With with the amount of money that Cyberpunk would eventually make them survive? Of course it would. Of course it would. But I just don't think it's a look that they want, coupled with the crunch, right? The development crunch, which I've talked at lengths about. I don't think it's nearly as big of a deal as the Jim Sterlings and Jason Schreiers of the world would make you feel. Well, that's a completely different topic. We could talk about it at a different time again if you guys want me to. But I think it'll stay. I think that the evidence kind of suggests that it'll stay. If it gets delayed, it's being delayed for at least a full month, if not more. I don't know if you do that after you've already delayed it for almost a month in the first place, after the game is quote-unquote finished. And in all reality, the game is finished. If this wasn't, I'm not making excuses for them, but if this wasn't CD Projekt Red and this was more of a, not necessarily like a scummy, but if this was more of like a shady company that is like okay with having their games come out and not be and I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying, I don't want to paint this company as this because they've done bad things, but they've also done good things. EA, say with like Battlefield. Remember Battlefield? I think it was like even Battlefield 4. Was that the one that came out when the PS4 first launched and Xbox One? That game was so beyond broken for so long. And I'm not saying like they're comparable. I'm not saying like Cyberpunk would be as broken, or maybe it would be more, maybe it would be less. But I feel like there are some companies, not even just EA, but I'm sure there are some companies out there that probably would be okay with it coming out in its current state. You know what I mean? It's like we know the game is going to sell, I don't know, 10, 15 million units, like right away. You know what I mean? It would be out for the holiday season. You think about it there too, they're already losing that. December 10th, yes, it'll still sell. Yes, it'll still sell for Christmas, but in reality, you missed the biggest part, which was the early November, because then you can capitalize on Black Friday and all the sales of like the end of the year, right? Even just across the world, not even just for the U.S. So they're missing an opportunity there. The game would sell enormous. It's going to sell enormous no matter what. They could have very well said, you know what? It may run like complete garbage on PS4 and Xbox One, but we're going to do it anyway. Maybe people won't notice. You know what I mean? Obviously, people will notice. Obviously, that would look bad. That would hurt the quality of the game. But, I mean, if they didn't care and they just said, hey, we just want the money, then, you know what I mean, then that's a different path they could have gone. So I think they are doing it the right way. I'm not mad at them for delaying it. I really am not. I mean, it's the quote of, like, you know, a delayed game can eventually become good. That's pretty much it. I mean, this game can still, I mean, I think it always would have been, but this game has enormous potential, and you don't want to ruin that by it coming out immediately and it being like complete garbage on half the systems say releases on, right? So I will personally say I think it stays. I think it will release December 10th. I get people are very pessimistic on that. I get that. I think the delay after delay after delay have weakened people's confidence on this game, or at least the confidence on the game releasing on time. So I get people that say it's not going to release there, but I think it will. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Do you think it'll end up reaching that spot? Do you think it'll be pushed further into January, maybe even later? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. And I've been covering this game. I've been trying to do it at least every single week. And you know what? The delay added 3 more weeks of me talking about the game. So I can't really complain about that. We'll be continuing talking about this game as often as I can every week, hopefully trying to pick that up a little bit more as we get closer. And then when the game releases, I'll be having loads and loads and loads of content on the game, okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.